Greetings, cyberspace cadets. It's IRATE PROSTATE here. It's another Thursday evening, and it's another edition of Hot Takes with Big Fat Brian. And we've got a special guest in the studio with us tonight. Say hello, Miss Lovely Viper Sword.
Hello, peoples.
And Brian, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. What up, fam?
That's right. We're hanging with the fam today, and we're going to be talking about Castlevania, okay? And we're just going to jump right in on this deal. As we do with every week, we're doing something different. We do anime this week. Next week it'll be, original series, and the week after that, true crime. So, and this week with anime, we usually bring in the resident weeb. Which that is weeaboo. I mean, in a respectfully said, is our resident weeaboo today will be Viper Sword. So give us from a person well versed in the art. What did you think about this 4-series season?
Castlevania?
Yes.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It really goes to show, it goes to show that anime is not necessarily for kids, which, is still, animation, it's for children, and it's like, no, not really. And even in the West, you've got like animation like Archer and other like Family Guy as well that's more adult orientated. But really what surprised everybody is that this has been broadcasted by Netflix. Usually when something's been brought over to America or the UK, it will be censored to high heaven. It's not censored.
Which is excellent. What did you think about it being only four episodes, 23 minutes long each?
That's fine, considering that some animes recently have only been about 12 episodes, although some are now getting back into the 25 episode route. It's fine, especially with the story that you're actually getting. 4 episodes is enough when you see the production, the quality that is shown on screen. You can definitely tell that money well spent, but you can understand why there's only 4 episodes and not 12.
Right. Well, it looked like to me more like that this was is being presented as more like a tease. Because that's the way I felt after the 4th episode, as I was like, oh, what's next? I was immediately wanting to watch the next one. As a matter of fact, when I originally put this on, I didn't know it was 4 episodes, right? And so it was late one night when I couldn't get any sleep. This was about 2 weeks ago. And I put it on, and then right after the 4th episode, because I've been watching a couple of different anime, I was like going, "Where's the next one?" And then I found out. I did a little research, and I said, "Holy shit! It's only 4 episodes. Those bastards!"
It was a tease. Yeah. No, it was a tease. It's not. It does whet your appetite for more, but you can understand why there's only 4 episodes because of the quality that was actually shown in those 4 episodes. I mean, when the blood is raining down from the sky and Dracula's face in the fire, that in low quality, in low production anime, you wouldn't get that. You would only see that sort of thing in anime movies like the Studio Ghibli, for example, Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle, just to name a few. So you can understand why there's 4 episodes if you're thinking about it as money.
Right. I think that they've got a guaranteed audience to come back now. I think that the reaction to it has been very, very positive. Brian, you're not saying a lot, dude.
I mean, I might have a bit of a different opinion than you guys.
Oh, really, man?
Yeah. So, if I'm being honest, I kind of thought that the anime in this series sort of looked like. Has anyone ever seen Jackie Chan's Adventures?
Yes.
I thought it kind of looked like it. Really reminded me of that anime a lot.
That cartoon, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mean stylistically, or do you mean
the style?
Style.
Right.
Style. I can see it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That actually, the style reminded me of the X-Men that came out like in 1992 or 1993. It looked like
1994.
It looked like it was the same artist. Did anybody get that?
I didn't get the X-Men.
I can't remember the guy's name.
No, it's alright. I don't get the X-Men. I kind of get the Jackie Chan, probably because I've seen this sort of style before in an anime like Monster, which is a 54 episode. That's an older anime, and it's about a very crazy serial killer. But the animation style is similar to that one, but it's definitely more adult. It's not the big eye moe girl that you used to.
Thank God.
True. It is definitely more adult, and I did like the series for that. I thought as for the 4 episodes, it could have just been one movie. You know, it could have been an intro movie to the series.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like what they did with Berserk.
Yes, they could have done that, and to be fair, I don't know, you know, I'm not a huge anime fan, and I really liked Berserk. To me, this seemed a bit subpar. You know, I mean, I guess if I'm comparing it to Berserk, a lot of people say that Berserk is one of the best out there, though.
Well, here's all right. From a non-fan standpoint, and then I'll let Viper tell us where we're wrong. My biggest problem was with the relationship between Lisa and Dracula, and how they immediately fell in love, and then he leaves. Right? I didn't get that, and I didn't understand if the Alucard or Adrian Tepich at the end was supposed to be their son together, right?
Right.
I was confused at that too.
Yeah.
But I love the style. I thought when he turns into the pillar of fire and that little lightning bolt looking fire thing that goes around it, that's straight from the video game. I remember seeing that on the old video screens. So there was definitely nods to that. So I'll shut up now and let our resident expert.
Right. As IRATE PROSTATE said, it is based on a video game. It's based on the Castlevania series, although it is escaping my mind which Castlevania it's based on. But where the downside is, it is trying to go, like saying, oh, you should know these characters if you played this game. And that's kind of the downfall of it. If you don't know the characters from the video game, then you're kind of going, okay, right. It's a bit rushed. But one thing that did happen, though, is I think you missed the time jump. Because of the setting. There is a time jump between Lisa and Dracula first meeting each other.
It's 20 years, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
20
okay.
years.
All right. Well, then that makes sense then.
Yeah, that's how Dracula is in the small hut with Lisa, because Lisa was the one to basically say to Dracula, well, why don't you just spend time around humans? You know, if you get used to us, if you understand us, if you learn about us, then maybe you can come to like us. Mm-hmm. And Alucard, yes, is the son of Dracula and Lisa.
Right.
But it wasn't like love at first sight. It was more of Dracula finding interest in this woman because this was a human woman who wanted to learn about science and not witchcraft. Mm-hmm. and also wasn't all that afraid of him. So it was more of, I like this. And then it probably bloomed, the relationship. But because, again, only 4 episodes, they've got to sort of smush everything together, and there was that time jump. So...
Yeah, I agree. It was sloshed together a bit too much because, in the beginning of this, basically she walks into the tomb of Dracula and instantly Dracula's befriended. It's like she had some sort of Dracula charm in her pocket, and it's like, I don't know that that's how that would work. I mean, look, there's no science behind Dracula here, but. But I just have a feeling that if some random human wandered into a vampire den, they wouldn't really come out, Well, you got to think of you've kind of got to think of the time or the year that it was set in. Most humans would have seen all those skeletons and the bats and the big castle and kind of gone, I'm not going anywhere near that. I'm not going anywhere near that. So in a way, it was more of, I respect you for actually getting past all that fear and, coming in. I still may eat you, but at least I'm going to give you a chance. And, it's seeing between the lines of everything. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but... To me, it was a bit rushed. I mean, if you've got a series, right, and you're gonna call it a series, and you have a decent budget, clearly, then you can give me another 5 minutes of intro story about, because essentially this is what I'm supposed to care about the entire time. The whole reason that all of this happens is because he's essentially sad his wife got killed.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're going to base a story off of that, then I really have to be invested in it. You might want to ensure that the audience is, and like I said, this is probably, I'm not used to the anime culture of how this works, but in like Western storytelling, in order for somebody to really care about the story, you need to have a story that you're involved with. You actually want to hear, or need to have an emotional attachment to the characters.
Yeah, no, I understand. I do think that you kind of underestimating how much money it would take to make something like this. That I know you're just saying like 5 more minutes, but those 5 more minutes could be like another 2 million yen. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to talk for a second because Viper, you brought it up in the chat, and talk a minute about the we were talking about budget and stuff, and the actors behind this. I'm going to do a quick rundown and kind of give y'all some background on, where they've been in the past, because these names, you recognize some of these names. Richard Armitage, who plays Trevor Belmont, right? Mm-hmm. He played Thorin in the Hobbit trilogy, right?
Yeah.
He played Thorin Oakenshield, and then also he played Francis Dollarhide on the Hannibal TV series in the 3rd season. That's the killer from Red Dragon, all right. Mm-hmm. James Callis, who plays Alucard. Really we don't see really hardly any of him, but that's the guy that played Gaius Baltar on Battlestar Galactica, the reboot from the Sci-Fi Channel. Matt Frewer, everybody knows him. Max Headroom, and a list as long as my arm. Of acting jobs. He's just he's been on just about everything that has been decent. I think his last big part was on Orphan Black. He played the scientist that ended up getting his head cut off. If you remember that,
yeah,
I love that. I love that show. And then the one that I didn't recognize was the girl, Alejandra Reynoso, and she played Saifa Belanda's, one of the speakers. You know, the speaker girl. Talk to me about the speakers, because I wasn't quite sure what they were.
Yeah, no, it's easily understandable. At first, it took me by surprise. In a way, they could be like a walking library. You know, they learn the stories, they take them to heart, and they're meant to spread those stories, those legends across all the land. In a way, kind of like this. And I think giving hope to people, or giving a sense of imagination again, because this world is very dark with all the monsters and everything. So maybe it's that sort of thing. Maybe people in the chat can tell me if they played a role in Castlevania 3, which is what Jacob Navo has been says that this Castlevania has been based off. So maybe they play a role or a bigger role in that game, and we just didn't see enough of them, because I didn't get to play Castlevania 3, unfortunately, so I don't know much about it. So I was one of these people that was kind of going in blind. I knew of the Castlevania series. I played like the latest game of it, the one on the 360, and it was so. I was being introduced to all these characters like Trevor Belmont and everyone, you know, for the first time, and learning about them. So I think the speakers were walking libraries, is the best way to put them.
Got you. Yeah, because they were supposed to have this memorized oral tradition. And I was wondering if they were if they had memorized like these tomes of white magic or something, because she was using a lot of spells with the Malocchio, with the the Dio, the devil. They used to call it devil horns, but actually it's actually to ward off evil. The two fingers with the anyway. I just thought that was that maybe that's what it was white magic.
I mean, she could have learnt those spells, sure. I think some people are born with the ability to use magic in Castlevania. I'm not so sure. So she could have been one of them. But yeah, she could have learnt about the magic, magic rituals and everything like that at some point. So, take her. Again, I wasn't. I was going in blind. I don't know much about the characters or the traditions of certain people.
Yeah, I want to let everybody know that what they're seeing in the slideshow are like caps that I got from the actual from the video, because I wanted everybody to get a feeling of the style and stuff. It's reminiscent of the old Tomb of Dracula stuff drawn by artist Gene Colan, and his Tomb of Dracula series, he literally drew that from the 70s into the early 90s. He did it for over 20 years. And his style was, I hated his style as a child, but when I got older, I realized, how wonderful that and the usage of his lines and stuff. If inked properly, his stuff is just incredible to look at.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the basically the first. I think the story. What I was wanting to point out is that it looks like that they were focusing the most on Trevor's backstory, or his development. He talked about his family a little bit, and I guess he's going to be the main protagonist. Although it seems like the other two are going to be real important to the game too. I mean, to the show game.
It's all right.
That was a weird slip. I honestly thought that there had been some kind of manga that preceded the game. When I was doing my research, I couldn't find anything to back that up. So Jacob was right about that.
Yeah. No, there wasn't any manga before the Castlevania games. This is purely based on or an adaptation of a game. So the first episode was to basically set up what led to all the demons coming into this world. And again, that was why it was so rushed, so that we're getting the understanding that Dracula is not happy with the people, and then we've then got yeah.
I did like how he was so stern throughout the entire series. I mean, obviously he did have a reason to be, if we're being honest, you know. But I was like, this is awesome, you know.
Yeah. But then because that time jump again, in a way, that year long, it does explain why Trevor was to find Alucard in the coffin in episode 4, to basically say that Alucard has been hiding from dear old daddy. So, but the main character is going to be Trevor, and in a way, sort of him reclaiming his Belmont name after what the church did to him.
Yeah, I sort of so obviously this is essentially a prequel, right? To what will be the series, because I'm looking at the IMDb. 2018, they've got a whole series coming out. Yeah, and I understand what they did with this, where they left a lot of holes to fill in story at a later date. You know, like the whole Belmont thing. You just, throughout the series, you just know that his family was disgraced by the church and they're monster hunters, and that's really it. So one of the questions I had, which was why was the son of Dracula entombed? and so I guess we don't really have an answer to that one, because I'm assuming that's going to be explained in the next series. Or
didn't he say that he was healing? He had been healing from a battle that he had with his father.
Yeah. He was healing, and considering that Alucard is only a half vampire because his mother is Lisa. He's not as strong as Dracula, and it takes him a lot longer to heal. So he had to hide himself away, hiding from dear old daddy, to basically heal and to get stronger.
See, I even like the whole deal with the story of the sleeping soldier, and it being kind of blown off as maybe a honeypot thing for the Cyclops and the exactly. That was a nice little ruse, and then back it up with actual. There was a soldier down there, and that Cyclops was one of his creations to protect him from more powerful non-human type of aggressors. So I thought that was awesome, man.
I was wondering if that sorceress or wizard or whatever she was can make ice walls. How did she get hit by the beam? But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, no. What it would have done is kind of like it tried to do with Trevor, is sneak up on them, and then as soon as you see it, blam! You're kind of like Medusa's eyes. You get struck, and none of them would have had training of this kind either. So even though that she had magic, it would have taken her time to sort of. It's like I've got to do the spell quick.
It's something I had written down here is that Dracula had told Lisa that the castle itself was a traveling machine. And I didn't know if that was a time machine or if it was some kind of space, rocket or something. Not rocket, but I mean, some type of spacecraft.
It literally flies, right?
See, I don't know.
you don't get to see it all that well, the castle. You do get, in the opening, you do see that the castle is able to
it's emerging.
move.
Yeah, it's moving, exactly, from the earth up the,
Yeah, it's able to move, it's got the gears and everything. In a way, it was also to show that Dracula, even though he is a vampire, he is a man of science, he is a man of knowledge, and he is a man of engineering. So his castle was another facet of his personality. So you're not just seeing this stern vampire, you're also seeing that he was an inventor. In a way. Unfortunately, you don't get to see a lot of the castle. So in the series, we might be able to see it fly or move about, but Lisa pointing it out that, yeah, this castle can move, can't it? Yeah, that's like another little Easter egg, another little tidbit for you to go,
cool.
Maybe.
Yeah, and like when he goes down and enters the lair where the Cyclops is, it's all those, incandescent electric lights start coming on, it's like, it's very anachronistic, UZQ was pointing that out, it's like, and it just shows, the ability, this is the 15th century, and, he's got electric lighting, so, it tells you, that there's something, that's maybe not even earthly. About there's some kind of alluding to that he may be extraterrestrial even.
I wouldn't say extraterrestrial. The Castlevania series is very much, you can tell that the church is the governing body and they are trying to keep the simple ways. And the only people that dare go outside of the church are the people like Lisa, who then get burnt at the stake for being a witch, or people like Dracula, the people that do have the freedom to look at this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true to the time, to be fair. They sort of did that back then.
Yeah. So Dracula being the undead supernatural, he would have had the freedom and also the time to actually improve on this sort of thing, really invest himself. So that's why you can see that Dracula is surrounded by, and even Alucard, when they're going through the Sleeping Soldier, you can definitely see that Dracula and Alucard are definitely more advanced than the people of the church. Where the church are like, hey, we're going to rub you under our thumb.
Yeah, and there was, I like the, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. The understanding of the Western church was a lot, I think it was a lot more, it made more sense than some like Eastern, conceptualizations of the way the Christian church is structured and stuff. This is a lot more realistic as to, and I'm sure that there's a whole division of the Vatican that's going to be involved with this at some point, because they keep alluding to this organization, but they never really say anything about it. But that it's organized. And then if you look on the guy's back of the main bishop, there's like this sideways eye. It looks, it's an oval with a circle in the middle of it, and it looked like an eye to me, which, is always, connected with like the Illuminati and things like that. So, I was wondering if, at some point, we're going to look at an organization like that. So, I really love this, to be honest. I was really pumped by it.
I mean, if you were to look into the lore of Castlevania, you'd be able to figure out everything. Like why the Belmonts were disgraced by the church, or how underhanded the church is towards the Belmonts, and how the church does have separate organisations that try to foil the Belmonts or try to align themselves as well. It is interesting, and the fact that they were putting Easter eggs and hints into the these 4 episodes was really good.
Indeed. Yeah, somebody's talking about the Iscariots, and somebody else had mentioned in the chat something. I wanted to say hey to a couple people, by the way. I'm going to say hey to Taps and to your boy Pat. Man, I'd love to get you in here and talk about some shit sometime, man. Let's see. There was something else though that I think it was Jacob had said. Oh yeah, that the speakers were like the D&D bards, like the.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone sort of had a class in this. I mean, the Belmonts, monster hunters, the church rogues, I guess. You know.
yeah. The church assassins.
Yeah, church assassins, and then speakers, bard / sorcerer. You know.
Yeah.
So. That was pretty cool, and then you even had the
I mean, again,
berserkers.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is based off of a game where you do have the simple dynamics of a game where you've got your sorcerer, your jack of all, you've got your mage, healer, all that.
Right, and. Yeah, even with the boss fights where you've got a level. First you get the Cyclops, and then you get that looked like a werewolf. Is the closest thing I could come to it. It was like a werewolf that was a vampire too.
Yeah.
The thing that
a lycanthrope.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect word. Because it was there with the 6 eyes and shit. That looked. I thought the design of all this stuff was just top notch. With the spikes, the protective spikes. So when I saw that thing, I went, holy shit! It just looked great. So
Death Hyrukin made a point. He said that the church dual classes rogues and clerics.
Yeah. Yes.
Rogues and clerics, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see there was. It points out that there was a thief's knife, and when he's, he was pointing out, the cleric was carrying the knife that a thief carries, which is it looked like it had something that like it was a blade was hidden in the cross or something.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine just seeing a priest walking around with any weapon would be kind of
disheartening.
Disheartening, yeah.
Yeah, no shit. It's like, what the fuck? Exactly.
Wait a second. This isn't what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I thought that this story, I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't really think that it was amazing either. To me, it was just okay. It was nothing. Maybe it's maybe I've been ruined by Berserk because I really I thought that was amazing, and the artwork in that was I mean, other than maybe some of the.
What the Berserker movies actually had that this didn't was the Berserk anime already had several episodes out. It already had 24 episodes that the movie could base on and also expand upon. Yeah. So you've got like the growing relationship between Guts and Casca has actually been extended upon in the movies than it was in the anime. Guts fighting the 1,000 men, or 100 men. That was extended in the movie. So, but this, it doesn't have a lot to go on. It has a game, but what story elements can it take from the game and from the lore? Whereas, but also, Berserk also has a manga that is still ongoing, and I do recommend actually looking at the manga because it is amazing. But it's still ongoing, and it's the movie had that to base upon, whereas this didn't have as much.
So yeah, there's like there's like 2 or 3 years worth of stuff that they've got out on now on the yeah. So there's a lot to consume there. Because Berserk was fantastic, but I thought this was fine. I thought it was great. I had a ball.
I mean, I think the reason why it's only okay for some people is that maybe you're not seeing the progression of Trevor Belmont going from a drunk who was I'm part of Belmont whatever to I'm Trevor Belmont, I'm gonna freaking kill you. Well, it's Trevor growing in those 4 episodes as well as getting Alucard, and then we're gonna kill Dracula.
Well, I mean, so to me, it doesn't really is the intro scene with Trevor Belmont, right? And he's in the tavern, and they get in a fight and everything. That doesn't, I mean, that just screams bar fight to me. It doesn't scream drunk, and so I actually didn't know that he was a drunk. I just thought that was just some mischief he was getting into, which I would expect from somebody you're trying to, build character around and give personality to,
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's the actions that he was doing. Like he was trying to hide his family insignia on his jacket, and as soon as the people see it, go, "You're a Belmont." Yeah, you're a monster hunter.
Right, weren't they blaming his family for bringing the demons there? Like,
they weren't blaming the family for bringing the demons there. They know that that's Dracula because, he basically proclaimed it.
That whole pillar of fire thing.
Yeah, shit. That's what I was going to say. I was confused by that, for sure.
No, it was the downfall of the Belmonts. You have to go into the game for this. Is because of the church. The church for ages was with the Belmonts going, yes, we need your help. We need your monster killing expertise to get rid of these monsters. And then one day the church just went, they used black magic, get rid of them. And the people turned on them. So that's basically what happened. The people were so under the thumb of the church that the word of the church saying that the Belmonts were heretics and demon worshippers and used black magic, that was it. They couldn't do anything.
Oh, I want to take a moment here to say hey to Tim Gersh and happy birthday, man. Hope you're enjoying the show. If you do, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Appreciate everybody being here. I'm having a ball. I hope you are too. Let's keep going, y'all. This is great. I'm just Death
Hyrukin says, why do you think he threw up when he left Brian? And he's talking about leaving the bar.
And he was drunk, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just assumed that he was drunk, but I didn't know that was to indicate that he is generally a drunk. So
I got it.
It is the fault of not being playing the game, so you don't know the characters all that well. And a lot of the anime is trusting the audience that you know these people, and not a lot of them did.
Well, yeah, I just want to say that I kind of got that he was a drunk too. From that first episode.
User error on my part.
Well, okay. I just didn't, what I was wondering is like, I've seen a lot of that, the drunken bar fight thing. It's like, that's kind of an Asian, like an Eastern, what word am I looking for? It's almost, it's not a cliche. Yeah, but it's definitely, something that I always see keep popping up and things. The drunken bar fight or the drunken fight. Hell, I just a drunk dude come around, and kicks everybody's ass, because he's got a history that obvious, That's obvious.
I just assumed that all anime heroes got in drunken bar fights.
Not all of them. A lot of them nowadays are more like high school boys that are getting transported and trapped into video games. Yeah, that's that's usually the heroes in anime nowadays. Although you go into the late 80s and early 90s, and there are a lot of badass anime heroes out there. But it's also finding the animes that you like, and not all of them are going to be these preteen boys that are trapped in video games.
That's true. Sometimes it's Berserk.
Sometimes it's Berserk.
Indeed.
So, IRATE, did you want to do our segment where we let people on, or?
Well, yeah, if you want to.
Because I have a feeling we got a couple people that want on right now.
Yeah. Is that okay with you, Viper?
That's okay with me.
All right. I wanted to make sure, because I kind of like, I kind of on a whim, I thought it would be cool to invite Viper to this. Because I know we've spent some time together, streaming and stuff, but I kind of wanted to spend some more time with you, because I knew that you were into this, and this is brand new stuff to me, and it was really, I really like it when there's something new that at my advanced age. Get exposed to something that's that kind of brings out the kid in me again, and it gives me this is something something I can pick up on and get into. So yeah, so people, if you want to come in and jump in for 5 or 10 minutes and talk about this, my Discord's open. And if you're not a member of my Discord, be sure and let me know. I'll put a link. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and put a link in here.
I do want to say that I'm actually really glad we have Viper here, because there's a lot of things that I was not aware of about this series that I probably would have gotten horribly wrong. So,
that's all right.
And while we're at it, I did link a tweet into the chat. I'll go ahead and link it again. And that tweet is our poll for next week. We're going to be doing a true crime series.
Well, remember now that we did something for this week, for next week.
Well, yeah, and so next week my bad. Next week we're reviewing Godless, the series on Netflix, and then this is the poll for the week after that. Yeah. So that's
the true crime week. We're doing a different type thing. Anime one week, then the week after that will be original series on Netflix, and then the week after that true crime, and then the week after that movie.
Yep.
On Netflix, usually.
That way we have a format for you guys.
Exactly. So we're trying to put some method into this madness that is becoming a thing, man, that we're really enjoying. I didn't think this would be this fun, to be honest with you. I thought we could, get a couple of kicks out of it, but it's just turned into like a creature. It's got a life of its own, as they say. So, I think Jacob, I'd seen that you were out there. I'm going to bring you in. Hey, Jacob, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Okay, make sure with the background and stuff. But yeah, so you want to talk a little bit?
Oh yeah, the whip. The reason it was magic is because it had a woman's soul in it.
Oh, the whip?
Yeah.
Talk about that. I didn't know. So the whip has a woman's soul in it.
A Belmont's soul.
Oh. So that's why it kind of had that weird ability to like grab things and deflect things and like fling the blade, like it was almost had its own mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason the whip's made special is because Dracula isn't really named Dracula.
Well, yeah. It was easy to refer to him as that.
Well, no, like that prequel game that explains the whip and everything about it.
Yeah, I wanted.
I forgot which game it was.
Yeah, and Bass Trap Kayla's joined us as well.
What's going on, Bass Trap Kayla?
It's been a while. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, I showed up. I went to go through the back door like normal, and somebody locked it.
I thought, man, well, come on in, talk.
You're supposed to always let me in your back door there, IRATE PROSTATE.
All right.
Ooh, that church scene.
The church scene.
The one with the priest?
Yeah.
That is kind of what the idea of the church being evil is, basically.
Right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, because if you remember, the priest is going, "This is a house of God, you cannot enter."
Yes.
And the demons could easily enter.
Because the priest has... Oh, he killed someone, which is a sin.
Yeah, so he had let darkness into the church. So that's why the
mortal sin.
Yeah.
Murder's what they call a mortal sin. It's not a venial sin.
Yeah. Because that church wasn't a house of God anymore.
You mean it's not one of the light ones?
It's not one of the light ones.
No, yeah, there are venial sins. There are mortal sins in Catholicism. A venial sin is kind of like a, it's kind of like you get a ticket for it. You know, you do a little time in purgatory, and then you end up in heaven. But if you commit a mortal sin, you go to hell.
The priest and the hypocrisy of the church was kind of a big thing in this season.
Yeah, no doubt. It was.
Yeah, they had to build it up, because it is a part of the Belmont storyline.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Even where Trevor says, like, to get the people on side, you would have turned them into murderers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he turned them into murderers to basically get rid of the Belmonts.
So basically, season 2 will be the actual game.
Should be, yeah.
Oh. Wait, so what do you mean by
Symphony of the Night?
Okay, you mean the actual video game. I thought there was something else, like there's going to be a really big surprise in store for the next season.
Well, this is kind of like a prequel to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what they did with Preacher.
Yeah, you could say that this is the in-between of Castlevania 2 and Castlevania 3, with the actual series being based on Castlevania 3.
Which is not a good game.
But still...
Yes.
Depends on how they adapt it.
Yeah, well, they gave it to Warren Ellis.
Oh, you got your boy Pat asking for the Discord link. It should be in the description.
Yeah, I put the link in the description, and it should get you here. And I'll wait at the gate. And you just pop in the waiting room, Pat. But yeah, keep talking, guys.
The monsters look really creepy in their design.
Well, that goes to show what they had to work with as well. That they were able to adapt them. I mean. That wolf, or the wolf with the 6 eyes.
Oh, that was a demon.
Yeah, that was a demon, but it was very well designed.
Yep.
And the smaller, like lower class demons, they were pretty well designed. They look like humanoid bats.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
They reminded me of there was a movie that came out in the 80s called Life Force. And the aliens on it were supposed to be vampires, but they, instead of blood, they just drew your life energy out of you. And and the alien version of them, what you would see would be your perfect mate, or what you would in your mind would imagine the perfect mate to look like. But they were really these bat-like looking things, and they look almost exactly like this design. So yeah, I can tell that they're doing some creative. They're drawing from really diverse sources and source material. Pat, if you can get in the waiting room and I'll pull you right in, man.
Episode 3 was good though.
That's where you could really see that they were coming into their own, and they were really getting comfortable with it. I mean, the demons' designs. The Japanese have had a lot of supernatural anime where they can draw
like
from different designs. Blue Exorcist.
Oh yeah, that's
also
what it looked like.
Yeah, they've got a lot. They've got a lot of supernatural anime that they can draw inspiration from to come up with different monster designs. I mean, there's an anime called Blood Plus. Which,
oh God, no.
Yeah, but those vampire-esque designs, they could have influenced these ones. So, these humanoid bats.
Well, speaking of design, I really did like the way that they sort of took on the artwork a Western approach to designing the bad guys. So how like when it comes to Western comics, bad guys generally they're a little bit shorter. They have larger heads. They have very harsh faces, and usually sometimes they're bald. They sort of went all out on that, and I think it actually helped the series because of the fact that they were trying to cram all of that information into 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, which one's gonna do the bad thing? Where he's right over there. Like.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the beauty of some of the more adult anime design aspects, because they can add more detail to certain things.
Yeah.
And things like that.
But it wasn't too adult.
No, it wasn't too adult. There was no sex scenes or anything like that. I didn't go into hentai or anything like that. But it was more of it was grown up.
It was kind of like Helsing.
Yeah, well, there was quite a bit of like gore. I thought, there were So I thought that was. The gore was very realistic and it looked fantastic. Like
it was buckets of blood,
no doubt, dude. and they popped that dude's eye out of the socket. Cut the guy's finger off, and what else? Just showing the people in the streets that have been ripped in half and their entrails laying about. It's like dude, man, crazy.
And the people on spikes.
Yeah, exactly. At the beginning, the skeletal remains on the spikes,
which was accurate to how Vlad the Impaler treated threats.
Yeah. So they were putting a bit of Transylvanian lore into it as well for Dracula.
Yeah.
People on spikes. Vlad the Impaler. Well, maybe you should watch Hellsing.
Ultimate.
Yes, Hellsing Ultimate next.
That is awesome, but it's not Netflix.
Very very similar to Castlevania, although it was made before Castlevania. So if you like this, you'll like Hellsing.
And it's 10 movies long.
Yeah, each episode is an hour.
Yeah, that was awesome. Except with the evil police girl.
I liked the police girl.
Johnny Hellcat says Blood Plus was good. Blood C, however.
Blood C is absolutely no. Do not.
No.
All right, JoJo, you got anything else to say, Jacob? Before
I would give this movie a 10 out of 10. The show.
All right, fantastic. Well, can't wait for the next season. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and free up some room and try to get Pat in here, man.
Okay. Nice meeting you, Viper.
Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I'm trying to. I don't know how to communicate to Pat what to do. So I was trying to.
Pat, if you're in the Discord, join what is called the waiting room, and then IRATE Prostate will be able to drag you into the live studio.
Yeah, he should be able to just go ahead and pop in here like you did.
So
anyway,
what would you Viper? What would you say? Out of a 1 to 10 rating, you would give this series so far. Being that it's just a prequel, I think that there's plenty of room for
I would give it a solid 8 out of 10, because then it has room to either fall or go upwards. If it was just these 4 episodes, solid 9.5. But just an 8, because I am anticipating more.
Okay. And would you recommend it to a friend?
Yes.
Well, there we go. That's what really matters, right?
Yes, exactly.
Personally, in watching this, I didn't really feel one way or the other. I just came out neutral on this, honestly, guys. I did think that some of the artwork was very good, and then some of the artwork I was not so happy with. Like, for instance, the wolf demon thing with the spider style eyes and the large teeth. I thought the large teeth were way too corny because they look just sort of fake. They look like maybe a 10-year-old drew them on.
Well, I think that emphasis that didn't bother me that much, to be honest. I think that the overemphasis of that was to just to imply how deadly and evil the damn thing was. I mean, it's just like, and everything in hell goes to 11, man.
That's true. That's true. But I'm comparing it to the artwork in the series itself. Like, look at when they're moving and their hair moves and stuff like that, and then you see these teeth that are just they're not even like colored that well. I would expect it to be more realistic looking.
Well, that means that they had to go into more of the CGI sort of area. Like the skeletons on the spikes, because they were CGI, so they looked like real aged bone.
Yeah, I liked that. That was great.
You could tell there was definitely some digital, little wash going on there.
Yeah, but I think the demon dog with the 6 eyes. Yeah, I think it was trying to make a comparison between the lower demons with the humanoid bats, to say that this one's a bit more deadly.
Yeah, he's the lead.
It's not Dracula level. It's not Dracula level where he is a big bad, but this is like a level higher. And maybe those fangs were to be like superimposing to basically like intimidation tactics. I've got all these teeth. I'm going to intimidate you, because he knows that he knows that he's still like kind of a small fry. So it could be that. Yeah,
no, fair enough. And like I said, I don't think that this was bad. I don't think it was particularly something that would draw my interest, though. And I can only give it a 7 out of 10. It's just average for me. From
fine.
We'll call it a normie point of view. You know what I mean?
That's fine. The fact that you're still giving it a 7, you still enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm playing video games and I want to throw something on, I might throw this on. But I certainly wouldn't seek it out. And if I knew, like, let's say I had a friend that I knew was into anime, I would probably suggest this. But other than that, unless I knew they were into anime, I probably wouldn't even bring this up at all, because it wouldn't come across my mind.
Yeah.
See, I'm kind of just the opposite on that. It's like I kind of ran across this, and and I found out, and everything I found out about it was like in retrospect. I kind of stumbled on it one night when I was bored, and I ended up watching all of it and wanting more. So I mean, that just kind of tells gives you kind of my point of view on it, already, because I came into this thing wanting more. So that as that being said, there were problems, like I mentioned earlier, with the relationship, and so some of the stuff in it, and there were some aesthetics that I could I would think could be improved, personally. So I'm kind of in between y'all. I'm kind of going to give this like an 8.7.
Not bad. Yeah.
Because I like what Viper said. She wasn't gonna give it too much of a high, because then again it can only fall, right? So you give it move to get better. You give it room for improvement. I think that's a smart. I think that's a smart way to do it. So I'm definitely going to go that way and say it's a solid 8.7, and I would recommend it to anybody, even if it's your first. If you're first delving into anime, and you kind of want to get your feet wet, I think it's a perfect segue between like Western kind of thinking, and then maybe Berserk next, as a, and then that way, if a person, comes in as a total normie, I think that this is like a good introduction into that style.
No. I would recommend Berserk first.
Yeah.
Berserk would be,
right. Well, you see, that's where you and I disagree on that too.
Exactly, and that's what makes this show so awesome.
That's right. We can agree to disagree, and we'll have to rip each other's throats out, which is a good thing, because we're not vampires, Not yet. But if you ever asked, like, yourself or anybody that you cared about, or anybody that you knew, if you had an opportunity to become a vampire, would you do it?
Are we talking Alex Jones vampires, or are we talking like mystical vampire?
I'm talking like, there's your romantic vampires, there's your Christopher Lee, in it for the blood vampires, and the Anne Rice type vampires. So there are all these different, there's a whole variable spectrum of vampire types. So.
Okay, if I was to become a vampire, I would have to be like either Alucard or Dracula from Castlevania. None of that sparkly vampire stuff for me, thank you.
There you go. Total power and...
I'd go full Nosferatu.
Fuck those humans. Right. You're in it for the blood.
I'd want to be creepy as shit.
Speaking of Nosferatu, have either of you seen the Werner Herzog... Klaus Kinski remake of the from the 80s, I think 70s or 80s. That's an excellent movie. I highly recommend it. It's very atmospheric, and it's a great nod to the classic concept of Nosferatu. But that's kind of where my expertise is. I'm more into a general horror fan. That's why it's good to have you Viper, in for this to talk about this one, because I think that you provided an excellent perspective to help guide like noobs like me and Brian help us see the light.
When it comes to anime, I'm 100% a normie, and so there's
If you need some more help with anime, and you don't have your resident weeaboo, you can always come to me.
Well, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. I guess we're just out of the top of the hour. Do y'all? I'll talk to Pat, and we'll get him straightened out. So next time, maybe he can come and hang with us for a little bit too. The next time we do anime, hot takes anime. So. With that, I think everybody has we've stated our opinions on the thing. We've talked about the series, and nobody hated it, which is always a good thing. So on that note, I'm going to say IRATE Prostate out. Have you got anything?
All right.
No, hold on. Before we go, Brian.
Thank you. Once again, I would like to remind people we have a poll up for it's for 2 weeks now. 2 weeks from now, for our true crime series. Please go vote. That way we can get what you guys want to see on this show. Exactly.
And I did want to take a minute and plug Viper Sword. She is a fantastic artist. She does do commissions. Her how to get in touch with her is in the description already. I recommend you just following her on Twitter. And don't you do videos occasionally where you do your art? And
I do make videos, some about social commentary, some about reviews, basically whatever I want to talk about. I do have one in the works, but if you want to check me over on YouTube, then you can. But yeah, thank you.
All right, well, fantastic. It's been a true pleasure having you on, and with that in mind, this is IRATE Prostate, and I'm definitely out now. See y'all later. Take care.
Thug life.